Welcome to They Said, She Heard, the podcast where words become turning points. I'm your host, Samantha Gibson. Here we talk with leaders, dreamers, and change makers about one simple question. What was said to you and how did it move you forward, set you back, or make you rebuild? Because sometimes the words that break us are the same ones that build who we become. You guys, I am really happy to be here. One more week, one more episode. The traction that we are gaining has been really, I say this week over week, but really, really exciting. I have got a guest with me that I have had the pleasure of knowing. I consider him a friend. And before we get hopping into that part of the podcast, you guys know I do a couple different things. The first one is I want to thank Great American Title out here off Tatum Boulevard in Phoenix for allowing us to use their podcast studio. The team here is absolutely fantastic. So if you have any title needs, commercial, residential, they are the folks to come to and are going to be more than happy to support however you need. The other thing I want to do is I want to give a shout out. Every week, I think it is so important to really give accolades to those people that are supporting the podcast, sharing the podcast, and more than anything, just really listening in and communicating back that it's making a difference in their life. That is the goal of this space. So today, James Maldonado, I didn't know who I was going to give a shout out to. And I was driving here this morning and on LinkedIn, he popped in and just sent me a message. He had heard the episode and he sees the videos and it has allowed him to feel seen, validated, and understood in the workplace. So James, I see you. Thank you for your words. And I hope that you continue listening and being a fan of our podcast. So we're going to go ahead and get hopped on this little thing. So my guest, like I said, I'm going to let him tell you his name, his title, and the company he's with.
James DeCramer. I am a principal at Avison Young, and I'm a commercial real estate broker.
And those of you that know commercial real estate, he is one of those people that you want to know. If you don't know commercial real estate, he's still one of those people you want to know. So we will make sure to tag him on all social media platforms so you guys can connect and see his journey, follow his team. He's an amazing human being. I'm completely biased. So he's an amazing dad. I think I tell him that all the time. I'm sending him messages of, you're such a good dad. And then his team just really respects him. And anytime we go to press coffee, he's like Mr. Popular. People come up and say hi to him. So we are going to go ahead, James, and hop in. I'm going to ask you this question and anything that comes to mind. So again, no right or wrong answer. It's just really what pops out. So what is something said to you and how did it move you forward, set you back, or make you rebuild?
Easy answer for this one. It was probably 20 years ago.
Okay.
I had been in the business 2 years. I kind of moved out to Arizona, didn't have a job. The job market was weak. Got into commercial real estate. I have a finance background. And I'll never forget this conversation that I had with my dad because I was 2 years into my commercial real estate journey. And my first year, I worked a lot. I was like a 7:30 to 5:30 guy. I was very consistent, and I made $11,000, which was crazy. Yeah. And so then year two, totally killed it, worked even harder, made 33 grand. So it was kind of one of those inflection points in my career where I called my dad and really respected my dad. He was just calm, cool, and collected. He was a great listener. And so he kind of heard me out and he said, well, hey, are you good at it? And like, well, I think I'm good at it, but 11 grand and 33 grand, like perhaps maybe I'm not good at it. Like maybe I suck. And he's like, okay, well, do you like it? And I said, well, yeah, I like it. But again, 11 and 33 grand, like I don't like that part. So what do I do? And he just kind of chuckled and he goes, give it one more year. And that was the defining moment where I gave it one more year. I kind of sold out again, worked really hard, followed my plan, was consistent, and then things got better. And even through like 2009 and COVID, and things got, disrupted
Yeah.
and things were challenging. I still kind of weathered that storm too, but it was that call with my dad for sure, without question. Yeah.
That's so interesting. So I always find it fascinating. I was actually talking to someone on my way here today. I said, as women, I think the pressure that us as women put on ourselves and then the pressure that men put on themselves are two different things, right? And we hear things differently, we process things differently. So it's interesting to hear that you had that conversation with your dad because from like my perspective, that's a very calm conversation. And I think a lot of women, we tend to be more emotional in it, where if we were to call our dad or our mom for that matter, a friend, whoever, I think we tend to be more emotional about it, right? Like we're almost desperate for the answer because we're almost expecting the answer to be, okay, well, go try something else. I love that he kind of just was asking you those quantifying questions and kept you where he wanted to be. Like he didn't skew you one way or the other. Do you like, was that like a normal pattern with you and your dad that he would just kind of let you talk it out with him? Or would he try to steer you places?
Yeah. I mean, so I grew up in the Midwest. I'm a
Hmm.
Wisconsin guy. And I think there are a few things that's woven into the fabric of Midwest people. And again, I'm not trying to generalize
Sure.
everybody by any stretch, but I just, I think quitting is not really a viable strategy for everything.
Hmm.
Um, I think, stopping early, pivoting, because pivoting is a whole different discussion. That takes strength, it takes courage, takes a lot of self-belief. So people that up and pivot, cut on a dime, change their lives for whatever it is, personal,
Sure.
professional, like that takes courage and guts. But sticking around and facing the fire and facing the music also takes guts. And so I think you gotta, there's all these memes today and there's all these inspirational, Instagram pages and they're all like, choose your heart, and when in that moment, I think staying was very hard.
Hmm.
And I think pivoting would have been just as hard. So I don't think I did anything that was, crazy difficult in terms of one way or the other. I think the path that was in front of me, whether I went right or whether went left, was going to be a challenge, just a different kind. And I obviously chose the one path, and it worked out. And I think in that moment, though, I was also confident that had I pivoted, that would have been the right choice too. I think I would have landed on my feet, figured something else out.
Hmm.
But yeah, in hindsight, I'm very thankful for that conversation with my dad. He ended up passing away like the next year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was one of those like
Yeah.
that phone call for me was a defining moment for a few levels, personally, professionally. That was a big moment. But um, yeah, so I'm glad I stuck with it. I really like what I do. Um, it's allowed me
You're
to be
great
a
at
good
it.
dad. Well, I mean, I'm okay, but thank you.
Says the
Uh,
great ones. The great ones always do that.
no, I'm at that point in my career too where I'm young enough to have some energy. I'm
Yeah.
also old enough to have a skill set level of experience where, I think I've got a good runway to do some fun things
Hmm.
professionally. And I'm kind of strategizing on that, planning on that, kind of taking that and putting the action.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, we were talking about that at what, a
yeah.
few weeks ago, I think it was. Like,
Yeah.
okay, here we go.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Cause I mean, my daughter is 17. She turns 18 in 2 months. She is a fantastic little human. She'll be going to college. My son's in college. And, I'm going to have an empty nest. And there's going to be parts of that are great. There's going to be parts of that where, I'm going to need to have, um, I don't know, like a fun plan and vision for myself where I can do some cool things.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's something, commercial and residential real estate. I tell people again that it's a grind. And like you expressed, I think it is so important for people to understand when whether, like you said, if you choose to pivot or if you take on this career, especially in real estate, it is a grind. It is all those micro decisions. Um, that are, because you have to build a pipeline, right? You start from nothing. So you used a perfect example early on. It's like you did quote unquote all the things. So you work full time, you're going. It doesn't guarantee you're going to make anything.
No,
It guarantees nothing.
yeah, and I was still
Nothing.
taking my punches. And
Oh yeah.
for any of you young listeners out there that, whatever stage of this game that you're on and wherever you're at in your path, it's challenging, it's thankless. You're going to question why you're working 10-hour days and not being compensated. Just continue to do it.
Yeah.
Stay true to your effort and your consistency. You will get rewarded. But yeah, for all the young people out there are no shortcuts. You have to be disciplined. You have to have a plan. You have to execute that plan.
Yeah.
And you have to do it tirelessly and relentlessly. And then good things will happen. And quite frankly, you need some small wins. You need a little bit of luck.
Sure.
And those are the kind of boosts and catalysts along the way that, kind of reinforce why you're doing it the whole time. And they kind of fill your cup and fill your bucket and keep you going.
Well, and I think because we have like our audience, it's the younger professionals, right? And then we have the C-level executives, and it's been interesting because I've been watching the analytics now because I've got the podcast. It's so fascinating to me because a lot of our audience is coming from those 5,000 and above headcount corporations.
Wow.
And a lot of the senior leadership and executive leadership, which I found shocking. I was like, okay, there's something good happening here. But through that, so I'm seeing the analytics for what they are, right? It was interesting to me. I think it was about 3 weeks ago. I had someone from LinkedIn that found me, connected with me. He had a 30-year running and like executive producer, big network kind of thing, left that job earlier this year. And so again, truly a successful person, but he's in a pivot. Like you said, it's this pivot moment where now he's like, and he doesn't have kids, he doesn't have a wife or anything like that. So, or a significant other, I should say. And he was like, he reached out because he's like, I find you like really inspiring and stuff. He's like, but I'm kind of trying to figure out what I want to do now. Because now what do you do? Right? I've had this one career. So it's been interesting to me because you realize that choose something like you said, and then own that for a little bit. Like because I think a lot of people quit right before they think that it's not working. And it's like, you were this close.
Well, yeah. And
to
then
be there.
Even when you get your footing and you're successful.
Yeah.
Look at us today in 2025. Whether you're 30 and getting started or 25 and getting started, or whether you're 40 and, you've got some roots, you've got relationships, you've got solid footing, now all of a sudden we have social media to navigate. We have AI to navigate. So if you're not in this constant phase of evolution and adaptation and growth, you're probably going to wake up one day and maybe feel a little overwhelmed, maybe a little disappointed. And I just think that if you can stay inspired in that, again, with that lens of, hey, I want to continue to evolve. I want to continue to grow. And I think that's probably why you're getting engagement from some of these upper level people.
Yeah.
Because they are successful.
Yeah.
But they're also, like most successful people, looking to progress and evolve. And they want the trajectory of their career and their growth to continue to be positive and steep. And, that's kind of where excellence is. And I think, that's why your engagement spans from young people that maybe, need a little advice and a little encouragement and a little high five, pat on the back, and then older people who are, trying to find their way and continue to evolve. And I think that's a key thesis in business today.
Right.
More so than it has been.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I really agree. And I think I went to a networking function and we were having some conversations, and, I'm planning on doing a mini series, if you will, on the podcast about burnout, because I think a lot of people, there's this burnout that a lot of people don't really talk about, where it's like, they might be great at their job, they enjoy their career, but it's like, okay, just the redundancy of it all, plus the stimulation of social media and just what's happening in the world in general on numerous layers, right? So it's interesting to find, again, how the words that somebody can tell you can make an impact in your career, but then tying it into what you tell yourself and what you're learning along the way, it all stacks. It's all a domino to get you where you're at today in
Well,
this
yeah,
moment.
and everybody preaches balance and having this well-rounded, approach to your own personal and professional life. And I think that's a moving target.
Yeah.
I think given where you're at in your life at a certain period of time, what you're going through, how you feel, I think that changes.
Yeah.
And that's a very dynamic concept. I also think it's more important now than it ever has been. Um, for people to be healthy and whole and get up with a smile,
Yeah.
and purpose, and a sense of energy and optimism. That's really where the sauce is. That is different for everybody.
Yeah.
I think there's playbooks out there. I think there's good advice out there. But I think at the end of the day, we're all autonomous individuals. We all have our own sweet spot, our own tuning fork.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to chase.
Yeah. Well, in surrounding yourself with those people, I'm going to start wrapping us up here, but I want to ask you one question, and it ties in now, again, like you said, because the kids are getting older. You're at this, I keep telling you, I think it's exciting. I'm going to live vicariously through you because you're always going to really great places. I'm here with the kids, but what is something that you're currently learning for your personal growth? And why did you choose that to be what you're focused on right now?
I think probably the most important part of my life has been being a dad,
Mhm.
and more specifically, a single dad for a long time. I think that has been the greatest reward, the greatest gift, also the greatest challenge.
Mhm.
And I think right now I'm in a phase where, again, my kids are going to be leaving home soon. And that's exciting for them. That's exciting for me, but it's also going to change my circumstances. It's going to change things for me personally and professionally. And so if I have the right mindset, I think these could be some really steep growth years for me.
Mhm.
But I need to commit to a plan. I need to challenge myself, right? Like I need to
Yeah.
do all these things. Um, because it's not like retirement where you're like, okay, how do I hit cruise control? How do I coast that?
Yeah.
This is different. This is like, okay, how do I pour back into my career? How do I ensure that these next 10 years are going to be really productive and beneficial for me?
Yeah.
I'm always going to prioritize my kids, so I'm always going to free up to go watch my son play baseball. And I'm always going to free up, to go to parents' weekends.
Yeah.
And go to a football game with my daughter and be there for them and prioritize holidays and all that stuff. But, how do I fill in the rest of the year? And, this is a fun time for me in my life. I had kids early.
Yeah.
And so now I'm, almost 50 years old, not quite. And I still have a lot of energy left. And I'm going to put that to good use.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be wrapping up, you guys. One thing I do want to say, so James has a charity that they do once a year out here in Arizona, because we're getting close to that. We got to figure all that out too.
Yeah, we
need to do that. But there is a charity tournament that he does because he has a huge philanthropic heart as well. So make sure, again, you guys that are following the podcast, you guys that follow me on social media, you'll start seeing some stuff because I cannot believe we're about to go into 2026 here shortly. But James, what we're going to do here is there are questions. You get to pull whichever one you want. You get to read out the question, but you cannot answer it here. So the day that your episode is aired, everybody can go and follow you, and you can make it as creative or as simple as you want to answer it. So you can do a video, you can do just a post of, hey, this was my answer to a podcast. I don't care how you do it.
God, I feel like I'm choosing fortune cookies here.
It is a fortune cookie.
Okay. All right. And I read this.
Yep, just read the question.
What's something small that instantly turns a bad day around?
Okay, there you go. And then you get to answer it.
that.
So the day that your episode goes live, you'll have that. Thank you guys, as always, for following. Thank you for taking what you need, sharing what you hear. Make sure to leave reviews. In a world where there are just a lot of spinning plates going around, I want to encourage you something as simple as a podcast within your workplace, sharing it, asking questions as simple as this. We ask on this podcast such a simple question and get the wisdom that you learn, or being able to allow somebody a safe space, if you will, to just share what impacted their life. Again, it either made them move forward, move backward, or rebuild is always important. So don't forget, I see you, I love you, you matter to me. And with that, we will talk to you soon. Bye.